The 5th annual Piping Heaven, Piping Hell Festival, which is coming to Ennis this weekend. From the 3rd to the 5th of April, the sound of the uilleann pipes will be ever present across the county town, with a programme of events boasting sessions, a workshop, a recital and a pipe band procession. Among the acclaimed guests in the lineup this year are Mick O'Brien, Bree-jeh Kam-bool, Máire Ghráda and Allan, MacDonald. Clare FM's Seán Lyons has been speaking with the festival organiser, the one and only Blackie O'Connell, about how the Clare uilleann piping landscape has changed in his lifetime.
So I was learning the pipes in 1997, 98, the late 90s. And for a county that had such a wealth of uilleann piping in its history, I suppose at that particular time, we were down to the bones. You had a wonderful piper living here in Ennis, a man called Mick O'Brien, and he had promoted a strong Ennis kind of piping club or Clare piping club in the late 80s, early 90s. Of course, there was the lads in Milltown, Seán Talty, fantastic piper. But, things were probably sparse enough, as the case may be.
Which might be surprising from an outside perspective, because we think about these great individual legends of Clare uilleann piping, Willie Clancy and Martin Rochford and Garrett Barry and the likes of those, but they didn't necessarily lead to a scene in the way that you might have a concertina Clare tradition or a fiddly Clare tradition.
No, and I suppose pipers are a quirky bunch at the best of times. We kind of like our solitude as well. But, I learned the pipes from Mickey Dunn in County Limerick, so I went out to Limerick to learn the pipes. My first sessions in pubs was in Limerick City in Nancy Blake's. So I'm from Shannon, so I leant over to the left-hand side over to Limerick rather than Ennis, So there was probably a little difference there. But, since I moved here to Ennis and made Ennis my home, which has been for the last 30 years, I've been always pushing and promoting the pipes here in town. Jesus, didn't I teach you?
You sure did. I'm still learning.
So it's fantastic that there's a swell of young people learning the instrument. There's obviously now with the Pipers Club in Dublin, the Brighde, they do so much to promote it. You have traveller outreach programmes which again promotes it. So I suppose on my own end I'm kind of riding that wave as well in no small way. I'm just putting it out there. And
I often think about when the Brighde was founded, and I remember reading that I think there were maybe 2 pipe makers in the country and about 50 known pipers. That's right. Not just in Ireland but around the world. And now we have makers all over the place. You have somebody you can go to in most counties in Ireland if you have an issue with your instrument, and then tuition, of course, you've tuition all over the place. People like yourself teaching in university.
It's a huge difference. And do you know what? In a weird way, the access to the instrument now, I don't know, is it a massive benefit? Because when I was learning the pipes, you had to want it. You had to work and you had to want it. And at the time as well, instruments weren't as efficient. You had to be physically strong enough. I was 13. So there's
a bit more perseverance involved.
Yeah, correct. Yeah, there's more. That's the great word. Perseverance involved in garnering that ability. I started Piping Heaven, Piping Hell 11 years ago, 2015, in Dan O'Connell's on a Friday afternoon.
An all piping session.
Yeah, it was kind of in my head. So myself and Cyril O'Donoghue and Pat Broderick were playing on a Friday afternoon at 4:30, and it exploded from that into something that is now recognised around the world. And I had a message yesterday from a piper in Argentina, and she said, Blackie, I'll be over on the 3rd of July. Pamela Schweblin, fabulous player. So I said, oh jeez, you'll be the guest. So people that come to Ireland have now made Ennis a destination for their trip. And I mean, that's a great testament to what Piping Heaven, Piping Hell carries. You know what I mean?
It has that level of recognition. And I think in the scene sometimes we might forget how unique that is. But an all piping session, I mean, I don't know, was there such a thing prior to Piping Heaven, Piping Hell? Talk to us about the genesis of that. Did it come about very naturally between yourself, Pat and Cyril?
Yeah, well, that Friday afternoon, myself, Pat and Cyril, were doing the gig, and I said to Pat, come down for a tune. And the same afternoon, a lad called Martin McCormack, piper from Monaghan, he landed in, and he taught me at the Scoil Éigse many years ago. And I said, Martin, have you got the pipes? And he said, I do. So he brought them in. So the first day was 3 pipers and Cyril, and I enjoyed it immensely. And I had this thing in my head about piping heaven, piping hell, this idea. And, you know, I have to say great credit to the publicans here in the town and also Clare County Council. And, you know, they have given me the opportunity to continue and you know, promote a unique event in Ennistown, which is something special and something that, you know, I think I'm very proud of it. I hope everyone else is as well. Like,
it's become very much almost a tourist attraction now, and that it's marketed in that way. It's a totally culturally unique event, and that of course evolved into the festival, which is taking place this coming weekend. So talk to us a bit about that. How did that come to be?
It probably goes back to 2020, and we all know what happened in 2020. There was kerfuffle around the world. I had Mark Redmond up for a weekend and I said, sure, what could go wrong? And it turns out he closed the whole world down.
Mark Redmond.
Mark from Wexford, yeah. On the Friday the 13th of March, before Paddy's Day, do you remember they closed down the whole thing on Paddy's Day? Myself and Pat Broderick had our last tune together in Consoline's pub, which was PHPH HQ. And about a week later, I went up for Pat's funeral. It was a sudden passing. And she said, it broke my heart to see that, you know, all his friends couldn't be there. So
I thought there was a better way to remember him.
I had it in my head that we would have a gathering in Ennis at PHPH. And we couldn't do it the following year. But in 2022, everything was open again. So I said we'd have an event and an opportunity to remember Pat as a friend of ours, as a mentor of mine, as you know, a bagpiper, an uilleann piper of absolute renown throughout the world, you know, and to recognise what he did. So we did it. We had do you know what we had? We had a party. This is what we had. We had a party for 2 days.
That's what a festival should be.
We had a party for 2 days, and about a month later, I started getting messages saying, is next year the same time, is it? You know, I said,
it was never intended to be an annual event.
It was supposed to be a one-off for Pat, but here we are, year 5. Again, this year, we have like some of the greatest exponents of piping from around the world. You have, you know, Bree-jeh Kam-bool, Allan MacDonald, Fiachra O'Regan is flying in from Canada, even though he's from Connemara, but he's flying home. I think he's visiting the parents while he's here. Aoife Smith, you have Máire Ghráda, Terry Tully, Tim Farrelly,
Mick O'Brien is in there.
Tecador from Astoria. You have Mick O'Brien from Dublin.
And you mentioned greats around the world, great exponents of the pipes around the world. That's kind of been a feature of the festival, or has become a feature of the festival, in that you have people from Galicia, you have people from Scotland, local people, and of course a good contingent from up north. So you're covering all bases.
Well, the wonderful thing about it is all of these fantastic musicians, I mean world-class musicians, love coming to Clare. So for me,
no coercion involved. For
me as an organiser, and I have to say a big shout out to Colleen Shanks, because Colleen does the heavy lifting, and we've cultivated and created something very, very special, something that Ennistown should be very aware of. So the festival runs from the 3rd to the 5th, so over Easter weekend, Good Friday, Easter Saturday, Easter Sunday. On the Saturday afternoon at 1:30, there will be a mass band parade in memory of Pat Broderick through the town, and you will hear the greatest exponents of piping in the world in Ennistown. And I think it's something that can be cultivated. I mean, Brighde Chaimbeul did an ad for Gucci. I mean, as a musician, that's where you want to be. You want to be wearing Gucci.
So the 3rd to the 5th, this coming Easter weekend, plenty of sessions, plenty of concerts. It'll be something that the town can be proud of. That's what you're hoping for.
Absolutely. It's ours. Ennis has an Easter piping weekend. And I have to say a major thank you to Clare Colleran, Mary Howard, all the councillors, Paul, I won't start naming them, Paul, Pat, all the lads.
Ennis Municipal District. Because these events don't run themselves, and I think people sometimes think, sure, you have a Saturday night concert, people will pay in on the door, that'll cover it.
No, it doesn't happen overnight. The council have been brilliant in their support, and it's something that we as a community can all get behind It's Easter weekend. It's going to be a great celebration in Ennistown over Easter weekend. And I think it's something we should all get behind, and I look forward to seeing everyone out and around the place. And I'll tell you one thing, you won't hear piping like it.
There you go. Ennis should be alive from the 3rd to the 5th of April this weekend for the 5th annual Piping Heaven, Piping Hell Festival. And thanks to Seán Lyons for bringing us that piece.